Hey everyone, it's the Tuesday afternoon weather for Weather Geeks, and wow, how nice it is outside today, and wow, how not nice it's going to be outside in about 24 hours or so in most of the Mahoning Valley. And then we've got a serious deep freeze coming on Thursday, so it's a wild ride. Buckle up, let's give you all the details. Here's a snapshot of the nation's weather as of about, let's see, it's about 2:15 or so this afternoon. And here is the leading edge of that colder air out here across the Midwest. Here in the Mahoning Valley, we have overachieved today because we've gotten a little more sunshine than we bargained for, so it's 58 here in the 2 o'clock hour. So definitely a great day to get outside. It's in the 60s in Columbus, pushing 70 down along the Ohio River. This airport, Mason County, right along the river down there, 73 degrees. Boy, enjoy this if you can for the rest of the day today, because tomorrow is a whole different deal. The beginnings of our storm are out here across the Midwest. Let me bring up the current surface analysis. We've got an area of low pressure forming right in through here, and a warm front through here. Our cold front's back in this direction, and where we have the cold air, yes, it is snowing from Colorado out through the high plains here and into the Midwest. And this is the mess that's getting set to head our way in the next 24 hours. So we're going to break things down kind of piece by piece here. Bring up the simulated radar off the newest high-resolution NAM model, and I'll bring up the surface analysis as well. And we're actually going to zoom forward here to the middle of the night tonight. Let's start with 3 in the morning. And at this point, 3 o'clock in the morning, we've got our low-pressure system right along the Ohio River, right down through here. We're still dry, most likely, at about 3 o'clock in the morning here. But after that, as we get closer to daybreak, I do think it starts to rain. So here's the predicted radar at 6 a.m. with our low-pressure system approaching Cincinnati, and a pretty good band of rain approaching from the south and the west. So this is at 6 o'clock in the morning. Let's go forward to 8 a.m. And this is when I think we're going to need the umbrellas tomorrow morning as we get off to work. Our low is over Cincinnati, pretty good wall of rain pushing in from the west as well. Let me bring up the precipitation types here so we can see where the rain-snow line is going to be. This is at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Zoom in on the local area here. Again, green rain, blue snow, and then the reds and the kind of peachish colors are some sort of a mix. As we roll forward tomorrow, let's go to 10 in the morning. And this is when we might start to see some sleet, perhaps even a period of a little bit of freezing rain trying to mix in, particularly up in Trumbull County and maybe northern Mercer County as well. I think this is a little fast to see mixing in Mahoning. But you get up towards Newton Falls and Cortland, maybe Warren, especially north of Warren. The transition from rain to snow is likely to be accompanied by a period of maybe some sleet pellets and perhaps even some rain falling into sub-freezing air. So I don't think that lasts real long, but there could be some mixed precipitation shenanigans going on and some slick travel for a time around midday as we get into this transition zone. Here's 11 in the morning, and again, you're starting to see some of this mixing, particularly west of Route 11. By noon, the predicted radar looks a little funky through here, but I do think we're starting to really see that transition occurring across parts of the valley, particularly from Youngstown on west at noon, from rain to something frozen, and then everyone's going to get solidly into the snow as we head into the afternoon. I'm fast forwarding here to 2 p.m. We're probably really mixing in Youngstown and Boardman and heading over towards Mercer and New Wilmington, and probably solidly now into the snow from about Warren on north and Trumbull County. But at 2 o'clock, it's probably still either raining or a mixed bag down towards Lisbon, and especially towards East Liverpool. This is going to be a slower transition over to rain, and that's why snow amounts are going to be a little bit lower down there. Let's go forward to 4 p.m. tomorrow, and some drier air may be trying to work in south of us, but it's probably snowing at a pretty good clip around most of the valley at this point. So the transition from rain to snow will have pretty much, that process will have completed by about maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock or so tomorrow afternoon. And so, yes, it'll be snowing as a lot of us head home from work late in the afternoon tomorrow, and especially on non-paved surfaces, and especially on the grass, and even on sidewalks and parking lots, and even some side streets. Yes, this snow is going to have no trouble accumulating if it comes down hard enough towards the end of the afternoon. The main roads, Interstate 80, 680, 224, 11, 30, all of our kind of major thoroughfares may be no worse than wet for a good chunk of the late afternoon tomorrow. It's close to 60 today. This snow is going to fall in March, and the sun angle is higher in the sky. It can do more magic at this time of the year. We're not going to see the sun tomorrow, but it's still up there in the sky, and some of that radiation does get through the clouds and have an influence on warming the ground to a certain extent. So your main roads late tomorrow afternoon will probably be appreciably better than alleys and side streets and non-major roads. I think there'll be a fairly big difference going on because it is March and this snow is going to fall during the daylight hours for the most part. Finish this up with tomorrow evening at 7. I do think there'll be some snow showers around, the air turning much colder at this point, and there could be some light additional accumulations tomorrow evening after sunset, particularly over in Mercer and perhaps northern Lawrence counties. After sunset, not much additional accumulation should occur in our Ohio counties, Columbiana and into Mahoning and into Trumbull as well. One thing we have to keep in mind tomorrow is that the snow, when it first starts to get going, is going to be very wet and very what we call low ratio snow. Oftentimes you hear an inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow, a 10-to-1 ratio. At the onset of the snow tomorrow afternoon, that ratio is going to be more like 5 or 6-to-1. And that means that the snow will have a harder time accumulating quickly. When you get into this higher ratio, fluffier snows, you can get an inch of snow much more quickly out of that type of snow than you can out of the real wet stuff. It'll take longer for an inch to accumulate when the snow's real wet, and that's the way it's going to be at first. Now it's going to transition into that fluffier snow late in the afternoon and into the evening, but at first it'll be great snowman or a snowball kind of a snow, but not the real fluffy stuff that we'll probably see towards the end of the day. All right, accumulations. Here's the hot off the presses brand new European model. Just pulled this off the server within the last 10 minutes, and it hasn't changed its tune much, and it jives pretty well with our forecast. Here's Youngstown right here. Columbiana County, particularly southeastern part of the county, we might be hard pressed to get more than an inch out of this. So we're talking down towards East Liverpool, with that slow transition to snow, probably not much more than an inch down there. Closer you are to Youngstown, amounts will start to get a little bit higher. I suspect along the 224 corridor, the European says, and some of our other modeling, that a lot of backyards are going to end up with 2, 2.5, 3. That includes Canfield, Boardman, Poland, Struthers, Camel, even downtown Youngstown, 2 or 3 on average. Then you're going to get up towards Warren and over towards Sharon, kind of the I-80 corridor. You got a better chance of getting 3, perhaps 4 up there. From Newton Falls to Warren, over towards Sharon, perhaps Hubbard, and over towards Mercer as well. That's kind of the zone where 3 or 4, a little more likely. Once you're up towards Mesbo, in the extreme northern part of Trumbull County, you've got a better chance of seeing upwards of half a foot out of this. So it's going to be a pretty steep gradient from south to north in terms of snowfall accumulations. That's the Euro, and I like the way it looks. Here's the SREF model. It still has an average at the airport of 6. I think that's probably too high because it does have some outliers that are influencing the average. This thing up here has 15 inches. We don't buy that for a second. So that's influencing the mean or the average. Notice how tightly clustered all of the lines are down here, and that's a range between 2.5 and 5. I like that a lot better. So, you look at where the lines, the individual members of that model are tightly clustered, and I like that. Generally at the airport location, southeastern Trumbull, kind of the same latitude as Cortland and Warren and places like that, and Sharon. Yeah, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5. I like that range quite a bit. Here's our snowfall map from last night, and I've kind of hand-drawn a little change here that we're likely to make before I go on the news tonight at 6 o'clock. We're probably going to make Youngstown and Canfield and Austintown, maybe not Austintown, but Canfield and Boardman and Poland, more in the 1 to 3 zone as opposed to 3 to 6. And we probably will bring up this area of coating to an inch or no accumulation up to include the East Liverpool area. So, down by the river there, East Liverpool, this isn't looking like much snow at all. So that's a tweak you're probably going to see me make before the afternoon is through. And just real quickly, a look at the long-range temperatures, just to give you a hint as to where the pattern is heading. And not a warm pattern for the next 16 days. We're warm now, much colder. We might flirt with 0 in some backyards Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and then we'll actually get above average for maybe a day or two, Friday into Saturday, so it's a real roller coaster ride through the end of the week. And after that, the pattern favors more colder than average temperatures than warmer than average temperatures. So while we might see an island in a sea of cold, an island of warmth every now and then, kind of like we have today. It's kind of a mirage. It lasts a day or two, but overall the pattern, the general pattern, colder than average, looking that way almost through the end of the month. All right, that's Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks for sticking with me. Check out my stuff on Facebook, on Twitter. Keep you updated through the rest of the day today. And, of course, you can check my forecast out on the TV side tonight at 6 and 11.